Elisa Radosperger met Larry McNabney in 1995 when she applied for a job at his Las Vegas law firm. She worked at his office as a managing assistant and helped him in settling a number of large cases. Subsequently, in the same year, Larry's law firm was investigated by the Nevada State Bar, which determined that Elisa had embezzled more than $140,000 from McNabb's clients. He later closed his offices in Reno and Las Vegas and moved his practice to Sacramento, California. Despite this, Elisa became McNabney's fifth wife in 1996. Elisa McNabney was born on the 20th of January 1966 as Lauren Renee Sims to parents Jesse and Jackie Sims in Outborough, Massachusetts before moving to Florida. Lauren was a cheerleader and an excellent student at Hernando High School. She had an IQ of 140, but despite her intelligence, she dropped out of high school, had two children with two different fathers, and started a job of stealing. Laren was eventually arrested for her stealing career, but after being released on one of the charges, she violated her probation by illegally using a credit card, then cut off her ankle monitor and headed to Las Vegas, Nevada with her daughter Haley. Over the years, Laren Sims had a total of 38 aliases, the most notable being Elizabeth Barash, a name she stole from a woman she met in a Florida prison, Elisa Radosperger, the name she used when she met Larry McNabney, and Shane Ivaroni, the name she used while she was on the run after McNabney's death. Elisa Radosperger met Larry McNabney in 1995 when she applied for a job at his Las Vegas law firm. She worked at his office as a managing assistant and helped him in settling a number of large cases. Subsequently, in the same year, Larry's law firm was investigated by the Nevada State Bar, which determined that Elisa had embezzled more than $140,000 from McNabb's clients. He later closed his offices in Reno and Las Vegas and moved his practice to Sacramento, California. Despite this, Elisa became McNabney's fifth wife in 1996. On the 10th of September 2001, following a horse show, Lauren and her fellow employee Sarah Dutra, with whom she worked at the law office, injected Larry McNabney with a horse tranquilizer drug at a Los Angeles hotel. McNabney, 52, was last seen alive being pushed in a wheelchair by Lauren at a Los Angeles horse show on September 10th. A day later, authorities said that Lauren started clearing out his office and sold his horse trailer and truck. According to her last confession, Elisa drove to Yosemite National Park to bury Larry, but he was still alive and she returned with the unconscious man in the backseat to Sacramento. After his death on the next day, September 12th, from receiving the initial tranquilizer injection, along with numerous later doses of other tranquilizers and mouth drops, it was estimated by the forensic examiners that Lauren and Sarah presumably had kept McNabb's body in the refrigerator in the garage for months. His body was later moved to the nearby winery near where it was finally discovered by the sheriff and detectives in a shallow ditch near Linden, California, on the 5th of February 2002. By the time he was found, however, Lauren had liquidated the couple's assets, totaling more than $500,000, and had simply disappeared. After discovering that she was the subject of a national manhunt, Lauren, who was staying at her daughter Haley's friend's house in Fort Wanton Beach, she simply turned herself in. Sarah Dutra, who was a friend of Lauren and had helped her in the murder of Larry McNabney, stand on trial for the murder in 2003. She faced life imprisonment without parole if convicted of first degree murder, but she was instead found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and being an assistant to the murder. She was sentenced to the maximum of 11 years and 8 months in prison. Sarah Dutra was released from the Central California Women's Facility on the 26th of August 2011 after serving 85% of her 11-year sentence. Lauren was booked into the Hernando County Jail awaiting extradition to California. While awaiting, Lauren gave a full confession to law enforcement while in the custody of the county sheriff. She told to her defense attorney that she murdered her husband because he was physically abusive to her, and that because of her arrest warrants in Florida, she couldn't report him to the authorities or, leave him. Her 16-year-old son, Cole, visited her in jail, and that was their first reunion in over 9 years. 1 week later, on Easter Sunday 2002, Lauren Sims hanged herself in her jail cell. Later, her lawyer was set to sue the Hernando County Jail for not preventing her suicide. She also asked that her children receive funds raised from the lawsuit. Her side note stated, "This is all I can give to my children. My actions now will allow them to move into the future without this heavy burden. They won't have to watch my trial on the court TV. It should all die with me." Lauren's daughter, Haley Jordan, spoke to 2020 in her first ever public interview in 2024. and detailed what it was like to live a life on the run along with her mother. She said that she hadn't spoken until now because she wanted to forget about her past. I spent a significant portion of my life being known as Alyssa McNabney's daughter, said Jordan. I have previously refused to talk because I didn't want to have to deal with it anymore. I can reflect back on it now though. Came home to the town I was born and raised in, but I haven't seen my family in almost a decade, said Jordan. I didn't know what to do because the only thing I had ever done was make sure that my mom was okay. When I think about my mom, for her it was all about having fun until it was not. Until it was about waking up in the middle of the night saying, "We have to leave," because rent hadn't been paid or she was being evicted. Jordan also shared in this interview that her father suffered from alcohol and drug addiction and had said that his drinking problem made her feel constantly unsafe around him. Jordan also said in this interview that she had indeed witnessed her father abuse her mother. She said at one point her mother separated from McNabney but claimed she was too afraid to do anything about it after her mother was arrested for her father's death and then died while awaiting extradition back to California. Jordan said she didn't know how to live without her mother, and even after years without her, she is still healing. Jordan said she believes her mother was a victim of domestic violence, and what Jordan had learned from that experience is that nobody should have to feel trapped in an unsafe situation.